Welcome to the Mouse and Castles.
Come on, Johnny, what are we waiting for?
This is a gathering place for fans of all things Disney.
D23 coming up this weekend. Right as you're listening to the podcast, we are on the cusp of all the announcements that we are expecting. Reference an IO9 story here that breaks down exactly what we can expect from D23. This is really there's the parks, there's Disney Plus, and then there's the movies. Those are sort of the big three categories. And starting with the parks, we have the rumored Marvel theme park news, which, Aaron, I haven't tracked. Shocker, I know. I have not tracked the progress as much on the Marvel theme park as I did Galaxy's Edge. I do know this. I'm always walking by the Stark Industries construction sign when I've been at Disneyland this last year. So, I mean, I know it's there and what they're building, but we really don't know what it'll be. And I don't think there's that much information out there. Actually, according to the piece, it's construction, of course, is going to be in California Adventure, scheduled for a 2020 opening. Haven't had much in the way of specifics, but, I mean, it's got to be Avengers themed / maybe they expand the Guardians of the Galaxy thing because of Breakout, but I'm willing to bet it's got to be Avengers because that's the flagship, most well known. But we don't know exactly what it'll be, and that's kind of the first thing. That's probably the biggest expectation of an announcement that we're going to get on the theme parks. Aaron, what do you want to see? What do you hope to see out of an Avengers experience at California Adventure?
I think it's really exciting for the possibilities that they can do. I know California, they have a little bit more freedom out there with which characters they can use. Like they're strapped in Florida where they can't use the full, cast of Marvel characters, but there's a lot more freedom out in their California parks. So
now, why is that? I've never fully understood. Is it a specific deal that they made with Marvel that was
it's a whole
state by
thing
state?
with Universal Studios. The Universal Studios parks in Orlando had a deal to use the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the ins and outs of it, so I'm not the best person to kind of speak to all the specifics around it. But I know that because of that deal that Universal had with Marvel, the Disney parks, even though Disney purchased Marvel, still had to abide by the rule that they weren't allowed to use Marvel characters for a certain amount of time, I believe. So I don't know. So I think at this point, that's why you can see Guardians of the Galaxy stuff at Disney World. So they are making a Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Epcot. But the reason they can do that is because Universal Studios never used the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. So that's why. But in California, they don't have those same restrictions. So, I think it's going to be really cool. And Marvel is obviously a super valuable property to highlight in the Disney parks, and it's going to bring a lot of fans in to check that stuff out. So what it's going to look like or what rides it's going to entail, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming, they'll probably revolve around the really popular Avengers characters, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, no, it will be. It's I pulled up this piece from travelandleisure.com, which kind of talks about the difference where they have the characters at Hong Kong and Disneyland. However, Florida will be left out of the mix thanks to a 20-year-old binding agreement with Comcast spelling out that Marvel can never step foot in the Sunshine State as a Disney product. So this is a financial analysis from the Motley Fool. Nearly 2 decades ago, Comcast signed territorial rights, which makes sense as to, this is why it's Florida-specific, covering most of Marvel's best-known characters for use in the theme park. And in the U.S. east of the Mississippi River. Now that sounds like an old Civil War era east of the Mississippi River. You won't use Spider-Man. So it looks like, but the specific characters, it's Spider-Man, all the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, basically all the characters that nobody cares about anymore. But they do have the Hulk is also banned from Disney World. However, they are free to use, and this is where you will see them. You can see characters from Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, and I think that Captain Marvel can appear there. So some of the ones that were obscure at the time, and of course now have been lifted out of obscurity thanks to Kevin Feige, can appear. So their hands are kind of tied. But But I guess that's just the nature of it, and that's why you'll see like Black Panther and stuff at Epcot, and you said the Guardians attraction that's coming to Epcot, so which makes sense. It makes sense. But so that's really the feature thing we're looking. We'll break it down once we actually get the news. Let's jump into I know, shocker. Let's talk about Star Wars, the rise of something. Actually, I was at San Diego Comic-Con, Aaron, and it was kind of a bit of a letdown from a Lucasfilm perspective. They had the pavilion that they always have there on the exhibit hall, and they are showcasing a lot of the products. But really the biggest thing they had there was this kind of this trooper armor display, which was really cool, the way they put it together. And it featured this one trooper design from Rise of Skywalker, but that's the only Rise of Skywalker detail they had. But it's pretty safe to assume that the reason that was the case is because they're waiting for D23, and we'll actually get some kind of sneak peek at D23 here. Now, I don't think we're going to get the full trailer yet, actually. I think it's going to be like a behind-the-scenes reel. They did something similar for Solo, Rogue One. I can't remember.
Rogue One had a really cool behind-the-scenes reel.
I'm trying to remember which one. I saw behind-the-scenes reel at D23. That's also where I saw the not in-game Infinity War. That's where they first showed the Infinity War trailer and then didn't debut it for like 3 months, and that actually was very gratifying. I was like, oh, I did actually see an exclusive at a convention. Because they normally just release the trailer out in the wild the same day of these days. But anyway, right. I digress. The Rise of Skywalker, we're going to see some kind of a behind-the-scenes reel, and I imagine we'll see J.J. Abrams kind of do a presentation similar to what they do at Celebration, where they show some clips and behind-the-scenes and design and stuff like that to kind of whet the appetite of the hardcore fans. But I think they're saving the debut of the full trailer, since we already have the teaser, until we're only a few months out from the film. I would imagine it'll be as football season starts, after school starts in the coming month or two. That's when we'll finally get the full theatrical trailer.
Riley, I think you are spot on with your speculation.
Well, why? Thank you.
Yes, I don't have much to add.
I was going to say, I just realized I talked.
Said is what I agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, let me ask you about Disney Plus then, Aaron, because that's really where the hype seems to be, and since we last recorded, they had the second quarter, third quarter earnings call where we often learn a little bit more about the finances and future of the company, and that's where Disney for the first time publicly addressed the declining attendance at Disneyland. And some of their plans to kind of mitigate it, which I think is kind of significant, honestly, the fact that they even talked about it. But I guess it's something
they're trying to alleviate the knee-jerk reaction fears of people.
Well, and that's what the earnings calls for. It's for shareholders, so it's kind of to address some of these swirling rumors and knee-jerk, like you say, knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, I think the Disney parks are doing just fine, even with attendance. I don't think it's that alarming, but I think because people were alarmed, they have to bring it up. They can't just ignore it.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. So Disney Plus is coming, Aaron. I've even seen some ads on Facebook already. And I forget, the whole reason I brought up the earnings call is that's where they announced that Disney is bundling their two of their two streaming services, ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. But also they have reached an agreement with Hulu, which they recently, I want to say it was last year, purchased a majority stake in the company. And so they'll be wrapping up Hulu subscription and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus for $12.99 a month. And that's kind of their power move. That's really just twisting the knife in Netflix of saying, hey, we are here, and we're here to compete, not with just content from Disney fanatics for Disney fans, but for the ESPN, for the sports world, and for like television fans, the Hulu service, all for the same price that you're doing it. Here we go. Let's go. They're going head to head.
Yeah, and I think with all the exciting content that they're announcing, new original things that are coming, Disney Plus is going to be a big player right off the bat as soon as they release. I'm excited to see. I know D23 is supposed to have like a preview where if you're actually at the convention, you'll be able to see what the interface is like and go through and actually use it.
Oh, cool.
And even sign up. And I think there's some kind of really cool, big discount for people that sign up while they're at D23. So I'm excited. I won't do the bundle just because I don't necessarily care about the ESPN stuff. And if you look at it just from like the Hulu and Disney Plus perspective, it doesn't really save you much money. But for people that do like the ESPN stuff, it is definitely a great deal.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. And I think this is the opportunity. They already kind of talked about the pricing and that made that big announcement in the earnings call. I think D23 here will be their chance to really kind of showcase the content. This is where they're going to be showing all the new trailers for all the Marvel stuff, the Star Wars stuff. This is their time to really sell the content of the platform.
You think they're going to do trailers? Are we going to see, because I know Mandalorian is the big thing that Star Wars fans are going to be interested in.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get
to show a kind of a trailer and like a clip while we were at Star Wars Celebration, but that stuff hasn't been publicly released. Do you think they'll just show the same things that we saw at Celebration, or will there be new stuff?
No, this is the time. This is the time to start selling. It's November 12th, and we're already seeing ads for the service. It's the time to market it. Best way to market it, drop the trailers. Drop the trailer for the Loki series. Have freaking Tom Hiddleston come out on stage and introduce it in costume. You watch. This is what they're going to do. And then they'll probably debut the trailers for The Mandalorian, maybe even a little teaser or something like that, or some behind-the-scenes stuff from Cassian Andor, and then freaking Ewan McGregor's walking on stage, and they're announcing the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so. I'm calling it. I think so.
I think it's a bunch of fluff.
Yeah, you're listening. You keep your cynical heart at home, sir.
I've seen a lot, like, just as an example. Everyone's kind of like pointing at the fact that the big outlets are covering this now, so that means it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The big outlets also covered when they announced a Boba Fett movie, and the big outlets covered when they announced the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, which didn't come to fruition. So is there talk of a Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus in the realm of Disney and Lucasfilm? Are they talking to Ewan McGregor? Sure, they probably are. Is it going to actually mean there's going to be a show that we ever see? I still think that is way up in the air. So I wouldn't get your hopes up. If it happens, I'll be super happy.
Stop killing my dreams. This is a Disney podcast, man.
I'm just saying, we've learned our lesson in the past that they tend to, if it's not the official, if we're not hearing it from Lucasfilm or Disney, then don't get your hopes up.
All right, you cynic. Fine.
We'll see.
Fine.
We'll see this weekend, though. I hope so.
We will, and we'll see. We'll be back next week, and we can break it down, and we'll see if they make the announcement. It'd be pretty cool because you're right. It is like the trades announcing that they've reached a deal, but until the deal's announced, they're not.
No one's even said that.
Yeah, no.
Literally, the only thing, if you read the articles that people are saying, it's literally just that they have confirmed that they may be doing a show with Ewan McGregor, which I think is kind of a interesting combination of words. Have confirmed and maybe, but nobody says that he's actually signed on.
Yeah, because I'm looking for like one of
the headlines are misleading because the headlines will say it, but then once you read the content of the article,
and
that's where
I know I had read some articles that say he had signed, like the rumor is that he had signed it. But then I'm looking now as I'm going to the Google machine, and the sources I'm finding that are saying he signed it are not the trades. Like here's
the less reputable ones.
Yeah, here's the deadline one, which is pretty accurate, usually pretty accurate. Plans to produce a standalone Kenobi film have morphed into the current plan for a big budget series for Disney Plus, just as the discussion of the Boba Fett film gave way to the similarly spirited The Mandalorian series. Disney Plus plans. No, I'm looking at this. Yeah, Disney Plus. So it's literally saying that they're planning this big series, and it gives you some background on Ewan McGregor, but it doesn't specifically say that Ewan McGregor has signed.
Right.
You're right. You know what? Your cynicism won.
This time. But I hope I'm wrong because I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
And honestly, of all things that they could announce that I would be excited for, if they announce a Ewan McGregor-led Kenobi series, that's the thing I'd be the most excited for.
Oh,
It
by
would
far.
surpass my excitement for The Mandalorian.
It far surpassed my excitement for anything Star Wars they put out so far.
Yeah.
Let's get
I mean,
real.
that's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite movie character. So I hope it's right. I just don't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah. Listen. It's a fragile soul. You don't want the dreams dashed, right?
And by the time we release this episode, we'll probably already have heard one way or the other. So this won't even matter.
Jeez. Yeah. No. True. So that's the sort of Disney Plus. Of course, I guess we haven't really. It's Disney, of course, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic. Those are kind of the big content that we're going to see, and we'll see probably a lot of reveals on this. Mandalorian. I mean, we've talked about it kind of ad nauseum. The last, I think, element, of course, is Pixar. Pixar. We already had a trailer for. Onward. That's what it was. But we might get a little bit more from that, as well as this mysterious movie called Soul that they're working on. We don't really know what it is, but it's coming from Pete Docter, who worked on Monsters, Inc., Up, and Inside Out, which are all some of my favorite Pixar movies. So it'll be interesting to see if we might get a trailer, maybe an announcement related to the next Pixar one. And, of course, Disney Animation, which, I mean, the quality, in terms of quality, is almost comparable. But we got Frozen 2 and Frozen 2.
Yeah. And we don't know yet.
Zootopia 2, maybe. Who knows? That's kind of the...
Yeah.
I don't think... They really did stack Comic-Con with Marvel stuff, so I don't know that they have anything left to announce as far as Marvel goes. Maybe they'll have some.
They could have
Easter
saved
eggs.
a couple things. There are definitely some things that we were kind of thinking, we know are coming that they didn't really talk about at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
So there's a possibility of a little bit more information. I think they held on to a couple little nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah. They also have some historical panels at D23 on the original Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Tarzan, Haunted Mansion, and more.
Oh man, I would love that.
It would
This is a con I got to get to eventually.
Right. Yeah. Next
Yeah.
time we'll do it. The next time it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, just see that being the first to see that like sweet model they had of Galaxy's Edge, and just running into Doug Chang there, who's just like grinning ear to ear as he watches people fawn over it, and nobody knows who he is. He's just kind of standing there. That was one of my favorite moments of all of that D23. Doug Chang, by the way, I should specify, well-known, I guess, artist and concept creative at Lucasfilm. So it was really cool to because he worked a lot on the prequels, and then of course now the Disney era, including Galaxy's Edge. So it's kind of cool to see that. But